Today we wrap up our Under the Influence triple feature series with Danny and Michael Philippou's, aka RackaRacka's 2023 Gen Z viral video nightmare. The live streams are sus, the handshakes are giving ick, and the live fast, die young mentality low-key hits different, no cap, as we close the book on caution and open the door to a demon-infested limbo that removes any optimistic misconceptions we might have had about what awaits us in the afterlife in the widely acclaimed Bus in Possession movie that not only slaps, but ate and left no crumbs. Talk to me.
I hate that. I hated that.
I love it. I love it.
It makes sense though.
I don't know what half of that meant.
Bussin'.
But through context clues, I could figure some of it out. Mm-hmm. You're listening to How I Met Your Monster, a podcast that explores the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. My name's Zach.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Casey.
And together we dive into the world of horror to find out how filmmakers have introduced us to our favorite monsters time and time again. This is How I Met Your Monster.
Boss, you opened it. We came.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left.
Who are you? Explorers in the further regions of experience. Demons to some, angels to others.
Call you Meatloaf! Surprise, Sydney.
Come on, don't be chicken shit.
Welcome to How I Met Your Monster, the show where we discuss the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. Today we are wrapping up our Under the Influence triple feature with Talk to Me. Danny, this was your pick, wasn't it?
It sure was. And I had never seen it before. And we had talked about we had wondered why we left off movies like The Exorcist. Mm-hmm. But then we decided that it was kind of like, there's plenty to say about The Exorcist, and there always will be, but I wanted to pick something that was, fresh, new.
I like this movie more than The Exorcist.
Interesting.
The Exorcist is one of those movies where it's like, yes, it's a classic, and
for a reason, yeah.
Definitely for a reason. It had it's secured its place in horror history for a reason. But man, sometimes it drags.
It does.
Oh, really?
It drags.
When I was younger, I remember being like, wait, why does this movie open up like the way it does? And why aren't we just like dealing with the possession? Why aren't we in the house yet? Why do they only use the famous Tubular Bells score like in one scene that has nothing to do with horror? So I was I was like, what's going on? Yeah. Upon repeat viewings, of which there have been many, I love it's one of my favorite movies of all time, probably.
Really?
I love the pace. I do. But I also totally see why people might not.
Yeah. I think it's a great movie. Mm-hmm. I really like it, but I wouldn't call it a favorite of mine personally. Okay. But did you know that Tubular Bells, like that's just like a small section of like very, I don't even know, like it changed it doesn't sound like that throughout the whole song is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not written for the movie.
Right.
Oh,
it's just music.
Yeah.
Like, let's just insert it here. It fits. And then all of a sudden it kind of encapsulates all music and sound within the entire franchise.
And you could go on YouTube and see like the guy play it, and it's just like, it's crazy. The different
right after it does the all of a sudden the beat drops and it becomes like house music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't realize that.
With a little bit of country twang in there too.
Yeah.
Like Beyonce.
Little Beyonce.
Yeah. Well, it's actually written by Beyonce.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are curious how that's even possible because
she wasn't born yet.
So. Rumors abound. Apparently she wasn't even alive when the music was written. But
she's a vampire. So she's been alive for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Again.
Oh, interesting.
We're just a rumor mill people. We here to spit tracks, not facts.
So yeah, I want to ask the question because I really love this movie. Zach, it was your first time watching it too.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
Mm-hmm. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Did it speak to you?
Questions,
Okay.
Not questions that determine, that would change my enjoyment of it, but just some questions about maybe what happened or what you guys think is actually happening in the movie.
Okay.
But overall, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at some interviews with the writer director, the brothers, Michael and Daniel Philippou. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And they just talked about how they wanted to, well, first of all, they come from more of a comedy background. They are YouTubers who have kind of built a pretty big following of, I think, over like 6 million subscribers. So they have an audience. Okay. So this was kind of a big pivot for them, going from comedy to horror. But I think most horror fans kind of have seen a theme of comedians or comedy focused individuals having a pretty seamless transition into horror.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of reasons. I've always kind of just attributed it to the fact that, writing a good joke kind of takes the same type of skill and like timing and setup and whatnot of a good, a joke versus a scare. So I guess if you have like the interest in horror, then that transition kind of is perfect for you. But yeah, in the interviews, they talked about how they wanted to make a film about connections, and specifically connections within the kind of Gen Z, like the younger generation nowadays, how everything is online and, it's a culture that's obsessed with getting attention, whether or not that attention is good or bad. But also how getting attention, how that connects, and also kind of contrasts with wanting to connect or fit in. So I thought that was a really clever way to kind of come at the genre in like with a modern lens in a way that feels genuinely, you always hear like, oh, it's very fresh. Like this actually genuinely feels like a pivot into like where horror is going, and like the kind of commentary that it has that feels unique but familiar and new and fresh and whatnot. So yeah, I really dug it for that. Yeah. What'd you think?
No, I really liked it. But going back to your comment about comedians making a seamless transition into horror, you got Jordan Peele.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've got Zach Kreger, who did Barbarian. And he was...
Oh yeah, very similar to these guys.
I wouldn't say that was seamless though, because Barbarian turned out to be quite a comedy.
Well, I think that's the thing, because even this movie, even Jordan Peele's movies, they have this. There's like a sense of humor that is underlying.
Yeah, but
and I think that's what makes it feel so human.
Yeah, but Barbarian was.
It's like we're not just going for the dread. We have the confidence to kind of undercut it with humor and still maintain.
I don't.
The freaky vibes.
So do you think Barbarian was more of a comedy than a horror movie?
I thought Barbarian was so stupid. Yeah.
What?
Oh,
man.
The first half was so scary. And then they fucking ruined it by trying to make that fucking woman like.
Oh,
so that was.
See, I disagree. I thought it was great.
That was what I was kind of saying too about why the transition from doing comedy to doing horror feels like seamless, because both they lean so heavily and rely so heavily on big setups and big payoffs. So that's the same to be said for like drawing out suspense and then cutting it with like a nice scare.
I can understand that.
Whether or not it works is like, that's obviously subjective. Right. But
I love this movie. I love, like, I had mentioned it last week, but I didn't want to say why, that it's very similar to The Dark and the Wicked in the fact that it's short, it's to the point. There's not all this extra bullshit. They're not trying to figure out where this hand came from. They're not trying to figure out, anything like that. And there's also grief within this movie as well, which might just be a commonality in a lot of like possession and, supernatural movies. But so I thought it was similar to The Dark and the Wicked. But yeah, I love this movie. It's probably my favorite horror movie of 2023. So
yeah, I mean, I think I put it on my list, or it was close to my top 10 favorite movies of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's
another comedic personality who went to horror that I can't believe I didn't mention already was Kevin Smith with Tusk.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a few others. He's got some other horror movies out there too. But
the thing with Kevin Smith, though, which is funny because we were talking about, set up and payoff and telling a good joke, where I feel like Kevin Smith does that with his humor and his comedic movies and stuff. But I feel like he's more about, and I don't mean this isn't a bad thing. He like goes for the gags and the gross out humor. So it makes sense that his transition into horror is horror movies that kind of lean into that same idea of like gross out and gag, for lack of a better term, but of like a darker variety.
It's like dick and fart jokes for horror movies.
Could not have said it better. Yes, 100%.
Dick and fart jokes.
You need to put that on the cover of every one of his movies. The dick and fart jokes of horror movies.
Well, he's big in, and you listen to his interviews and stuff, and he always talks about that, like he makes dick and fart jokes. Like that's what he built his career on, was dick and fart jokes.
That's
because they're funny.
They are. I know. Anyone who says farts aren't the funniest thing on this planet is out of their mind. Like I'll fart and laugh, and I'm like, that's hysterical. Like,
do you guys remember when she farted in this movie?
No.
He's not being serious.
Oh, I was like, wait a minute. What if like she did like talk to me, and then right when she said I'd let you in, she farted, and the demon's like, ah, not cool, man.
He's like, really?
You just let me in, and
oh my god. All right. Well, are you guys ready to head to the Australian outback? It really wasn't in the outback. It was just in Australia.
Yeah, where the movie's filmed in the
I would love a bloomin' onion.
Just stereotyping right out of the gate.
And I don't mean an actual onion.
What do you mean then?
Oh, that's suggestive.
I don't know.
In
It
a
sounds
very
like a
mysterious
butthole.
way.
It sounds like some sort of butthole thing. A bloomin' onion, doesn't it?
Why is it blooming?
Okay. Well, let's head to Australia to grab the hand that talks to me. I don't know what.
Yeah. Let's not bite the hand that feeds. Let's shake the hand that possesses.
Mm-hmm.
I have the actual talk to me hand.
Oh, that's awesome. Where did you get that?
Stacy bought it for me as a housewarming gift. Because she knew how much I love it. So it's actually like from A24.
Oh, nice.
Came in like an A24 box.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
It's made of like
porcelain. So in the movie, you don't really see what's written. Like, what kind of stuff is written on there?
There's different languages.
It's like poop.
There's names. Simone.
Have a great summer.
Gladys.
Wish we could have talked more.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Malcolm.
Have a great
Oliver.
life.
I miss you. Danny. Beth.
Danny.
Please talk to me.
Shut up.
And then there's a bunch of please let me go.
That's the sequel. Shut up.
So it's funny because this is through A24, okay? But she said that she could not find just a regular one because this is a pipe.
Huh.
And then the what's it called is on the back here. Like I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then you the finger.
That's so funny. Imagine walking in on someone doing that.
That's so funny.
Just like sucking on a ceramic finger.
Yeah. She was like,
no, I'm getting high. And I'm like, oh, okay.
They should have made it a foot.
Ew.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You can't see when you just have it normal. You can't see that part. So
the sequel should have a foot. It should be you have to play footsie with like a ceramic foot. You just like tickle the toes.
All right. Well, let's grab this bull by the hand and no.
I love it. No,
great.
go.
No, that's great.
Next.
Let's get handsy, you guys.
Let's get handsy and grab this embalmed hand and
Hey, let's give Zach a hand.
I could have come up with some better jokes.
Great job, Zach.
Good job.
Danny, since this was your pick, go ahead, if you would be so kind as to read the synopsis for Talk to Me.
When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes a terrifying supernatural. And unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Seamless.
So here's a question. Does it start when the first time Mia does it and she can't undo the hand? Or does it start when Riley does it?
I think it starts with Mia.
Yeah, I think Mia is the one that kind of loosens it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She lubes it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
Here we go again.
We are at the cigarette end of the post-coital conversation segment of our horny talk. Sex was in the first episode. The middle one was the regret. The third one was we're now having a cigarette and pondering our decisions.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it starts with Mia, but remember when Mia was possessed, she said, they like you. And so I think that they kind of were holding on to her to get to Riley.
Gotcha. Okay, so by our previous counts, before the episode started, we kind of did a quick rundown of our reveals, and we have about 11 monster reveals in this movie. Is that correct?
Yep.
That's let's see. I'm punching the numbers here and assessing the.
We may not agree on all of them.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we rarely are on the same page somehow. We're watching the same movie. We have the same information.
So I have 11 reveals and then plus a few honorable mentions.
Yes, I have 11 reveals and 1 honorable mention.
Okay. All right.
So,
well, Danny, I think you have a reveal right out of the gate that I did not put down. So why don't you start us off with the first reveal?
I had it too.
Sure. So yeah, our first reveal is in the cold
Casey
open.
had it too.
Casey and I determined that there in the cold open of the movie, our first reveal is with characters that are just sort of we're in the thick of it. Let's say that we have no context for what is happening, but we see the aftermath of what we'll eventually learn later on in the movie when we get the setup and everything. We have a brother, an older brother who's looking for his younger brother, Duncan. They're at a party.
No, Duckett.
Duckett.
Yeah.
Why did Duckett, not Duncan.
Duckett?
I don't know.
Duckett.
Oh.
Okay. Like duck with an ETT on the end.
Yeah.
Right.
Duckett.
I'm just going to call him Duck. Duck comes in looking for his brother, and
no, Cole comes in looking for Duckett.
Oh my God.
See, you should have had me do it, Zach. God damn it.
But yeah, we get a lot of setup here of kind of like the vibe of the movie, the energy, but also kind of the theme of it. That idea that we were talking earlier about this culture obsessed with getting attention and wanting to connect, but how ironically, you could be right there in the same room and you want to capture these moments with your camera, but in a strange way, you kind of become even more separated in doing so.
You're very disconnected.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And in this scenario, it's taken to sort of like the nth degree, because instead of helping the situation or even running and like protecting themselves, these kids at the party are recording everything. And Cole even is like yelling at them, like, put your fucking cameras down, like, what the fuck? And then it ends with Duckett, aka Duncan, coming out with a knife and stabbing himself in the face.
Well, he stabs Cole first.
He stabs his brother.
Well, stabs Cole, but then kills himself.
Yeah.
So why do you guys, I'm going to ask you why you guys both have this as a reveal. When we don't have any, we have no idea what's going on. And it could just be.
Because you stab somebody, you're a monster.
I think because it's implied that this character.
That's
true.
It's
implied that this character is not well. Like something's up. This is kind of setting up so much of like who the antagonist is in the movie,
right,
or multiple antagonists. So even if we don't have all the information we need, we have enough to kind of set it up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he did stab somebody.
Yeah.
You stabbed somebody. You're a monster. Okay, that checks. Okay.
And then we're in it.
And then we're right in it. Yeah, and we get introduced to Mia, who is at her. It's like a anniversary, I guess, of her mom's passing. They're having like like a
they
little
call it Remembrance Day.
Wake. Remembrance Day.
Yeah, it's the 2-year Remembrance Day.
Okay. And so my first, so I have an honorable mention coming up. My first reveal in my list is an honorable mention. It's the TikToks or the reels or whatever she's watching. And she's showing her friend at the house. She's like, look at this. Like, and they're like, that's not real and blah, 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 blah. And you see the person with the eyes.
I'll accept
because, but I have it as an honorable mention because like, we don't know really what's going on yet, but we see that something's up with these people and we're like, is it real? Who knows?
Yeah.
And so, so Mia is staying with, I thought she lived with the other family. I thought she lived with her friend's
She does.
Family, but she also has goes back to her house with her dad.
Yeah. After that kid smashes his face in because that family thinks it's her fault.
Yeah, but she goes back. She's like doing the dishes at her house first.
Yeah, because it's
I think it's one of those situations where she's just very close with them, and they've probably just like, especially after the death of her mom, they're probably like, "Hey, doors open, your family." I bet it's not an official. Like, I doubt they adopted her, but I think it's just a matter of like she's got 2 feet.
It kind of had me confused. Like at the beginning, I'm like, "What is her relationship with these people?" Because she's like, "Oh, I'm going to go pick up Riley." And then she comes back and she's like, "Oh, you forgot to pick up your brother." And I was like, "I thought that was your brother." And I was like, it took me a minute to like catch on to like what was that relationship here.
Yeah, she made her own family.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they tie it back later too when the mom kind of is like, you are family, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which ends up like bad timing.
But when she goes to pick up Riley, he's with his bully friend who's a little fucking douchebag, smoking cigarettes mullet. And what does he call him? A fetus? he calls Riley a fetus.
Yeah.
Just peer pressure, bullies. Ugh, we don't like them.
Well, it's funny because that's also a big thing with this movie is the idea of peer pressure.
Well, I mean, it's the same as drugs. I mean, they've just replaced drugs with possession.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Mia wants to go to this party with is her name Jade?
Yeah, Jade.
Her biffle.
And Riley has to come along, or Riley wants to come along because he's going to tell the parents if he doesn't come. By the way, before we get too far into this, I love the mom.
Oh, she's funny
in this.
She's one of my favorite characters. She played by Miranda Otto, who Casey, of course, will. Yeah. Casey's favorite.
Nice.
She plays Sue in this movie.
But she is so smart and she's just like no bullshit. And I just loved her character so much.
Yeah.
She was great.
I love it because it's easy to fuck up parent characters, especially in horror movies. Like as much as I love Nightmare on Elm Street. And there is, and I'm picking on Nightmare on Elm Street only because we were talking about it earlier, but, the characters feel a little like, I don't know, they're almost so disconnected to show this kind of like the difference between being a kid and being an adult. And like, that's kind of where a lot of the tension and the drama comes. But this movie kind of proves that you can still get that, but have the adult characters still be human and, they're still trying.
I also think like in Nightmare on Elm Street, like the mom was an alcoholic. So that's like one bit. The dad was a cop. And also that was like, that was a different generation of parents than what this generation, you know what I mean? And
that's true. So maybe that was not fair on my part to,
but I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. I just wanted to point that out. But they go to this party, and this is where my second honorable mention reveal comes in. I haven't even gotten to a real reveal yet on my list, but my second honorable mention is when they get to the party and they're learning about the hand, and they're like, you can only do this for 90 seconds. And she says, well, what happens after 90 seconds? And they're like, well, they'll want to stay.
They'll want to stay.
And that freaked me out a little bit, but
Did it?
It still wasn't like a full reveal, because it's like, you know, they're not there yet, but a bit of a mention. So.
But it's enough setup. It's the first inkling that whatever, because even when they're watching the video, it's still like they kind of imply that this is, or they directly say that this could just be bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
But now we're kind of in the zone of like, it feels threatening. Like, there's danger.
Yeah. Which then brings me to the next reveal, which I would assume is the next reveal on your guys' list as well. When Mia grabs the hand for the first time.
Yes. Yeah. It's the first time we get the whole talk to me and I let you in. And this scene, this is where I didn't know what to expect from the movie. I didn't know how much what was going to be sort of suggested in terms of like the scariness. Like, you know, it's a possession movie. And normally, at least in a lot of the possession movies I've seen, you don't actually see the demon. You just see the person possessed. So this movie scared me, actually freaked me out. So when she does the talk to me and you see the ghost or demon or what have you sitting across. Yeah. Spirit. That's much better. Sitting across from Mia. Oh, it totally took me off guard, freaked me out, scared me. Very effective.
And like the first one's an old man, right? And then she does it again, and it's like a gross lady, like all
wet and gooey.
Sloppy.
Well, that's the thing. I think they're all wet, and it all makes like bubbling noises and stuff. And so I'm wondering what they're all like waterlogged and gurgly and stuff.
Oh, that's
which is very interesting because something that you've never. So it's almost like
being in the spirit world is you can almost like you can compare it to the idea of they're drowning, you know, because they're not even in. They don't say heaven or hell. I think they specifically say like
limbo.
A limbo. Yeah. So maybe limbo isn't, you know, I grew up kind of thinking of limbo as being just such an in-between, you know.
Well, we get a really good depiction of it later too.
Yeah. It's horrible. So I think that checks out. And I really like that read on it where it's like, they're sort of drowning in the space. There's nothing comfortable about it. So whether or not, like, again, we can do a deep dive into like what religions and what different cultures say limbo is. But I always read it as like, you know, it's the part where if you believe in like God and the devil, it's like they haven't quite decided where you belong yet. It's like, are you good enough to go to heaven? Or are you bad enough to go to hell, sort of thing? So to see it this way, I can't. What is hell? This is limbo. This is the in-between. How bad could it get? And I think that's the beauty of this movie too, is even though I just said that it does show you a lot of stuff, it does put a lot into your head and the things that are implied and like into your imagination of like, oh, this is awful. Like nothing about dying or death or the afterlife or ghosts. There's nothing
seems
not
appealing.
interesting. That's not the word. Appealing. Yes. Thank you. Which just makes it so much scarier.
Limbo is like society level torture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very society.
A little worse because it wasn't as sexy.
Yeah.
So.
I agree to disagree, Casey. I was pretty horned up watching this. We do get a really creepy setup that I didn't realize was a setup in this scene. And it's when Riley says that someone is standing behind, or I'm sorry, Mia says someone is standing behind Riley.
Yeah.
And Zach, you pointed out earlier how the kind of ultimate goal of these spirits is to kind of essentially, you know, like take over Riley. That's like the main target.
Why?
I don't know. Like,
he was the youngest
very
person
vulnerable.
There.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Almost like
he's the youngest, so he's most susceptible.
He was so pure. Maybe they wanted to what's the word I'm looking for?
Corrupt him?
Corrupt. Yeah. He was the most like there's the most room for corruption.
So going back to when his friend was sitting with him, like he didn't smoke the cigarette, like his friend offered him that cigarette and he wouldn't take it, you know, so.
Which again adds another layer to how disturbing the spirit world is in demons, where it's not enough for them to just want to hurt the living. They want to hurt the best of us.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean by the most, innocent of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder why.
Probably tastes better.
Just a couple jerks.
Demons are jerks.
They're mean.
And like, I'm just going off of my list at this point, but if you guys have another reveal, let me know, because my next reveal comes after that party when Riley is too scared to sleep in his room by himself. So he goes and eventually finds his way onto the couch with Mia, and he falls asleep watching something on his phone, and something like takes the phone away, and then like this gross hand comes in, and then it's like, ugh.
I missed that one. I don't know why I didn't add that. Yeah, 100%.
Did you guys notice after this party how many times they were asking each other to close the door?
Oh, good catch, Casey.
I think it's like 3 times after that, 3 separate incidents. Somebody is yelling, close the door, close the door. Like the first time is when Riley goes into his sister's room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't remember the other.
That's
Dang.
cool.
I love that. That's really cool.
There is one thing, because my next reveal, I think jumps ahead a little bit, but we were talking earlier about the character Sue, Miranda Otto's the mom. She has one of my favorite lines from the movie, and I feel like we just wouldn't be good at our jobs if we didn't highlight the best line of the movie from the best character. And it's when she says, "You are not drinking tonight. On God, I will punch you in the face."
Yes.
I love that she's like using like the kids' vernacular,
And then
just like
and then
so,
the friend
so
goes, "If there's a party, I'm gonna drink."
Yeah.
And she goes, "My daughter's vagina prohibited."
Oh,
I don't know. It's just like it's such like a great relationship she has with her kids, where she's like, I am not mad at the fact that you're growing up, but there still are rules, and I know what's going on. And she's not like shaming them for wanting to do these things. She's just like, no, I have a set of rules. You still have to follow them.
Yeah.
So very cool. Very cool.
And then even like the kids, like she goes into to Riley's room, like when she says that, and she's like, "What time's the party?" "It's okay. Jade already told me about it."
Yep.
Love
He
that.
doesn't budge.
No, it's so good.
Yeah. It's like,
it's
for
so
you,
good.
Yeah. Yeah. And earlier she's like doing her makeup. She's like, "Okay, you're sneaking out." And she's like, "Whatever." And she's like, "Make sure you lock the door when you go."
Yeah.
She's like, "Fuck."
Reminds me of my mom.
It's so cute.
Yeah. But then we get the possession party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When Jade asks Haley and Joss to bring the hand over to her house because her mom's going to be gone. And what's that song they play? It was like I don't
know what it is, but during the party,
sounds like you're doing "Devil Went Down to Georgia."
That's exactly what it sounds like.
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
No,
he was in a bind.
That's not what
He
it
was way
sounded like
behind,
at
and
all.
he was looking to make a deal.
Now go find it. You can overlay that with the music. It'll be.
You won't even hear Casey because it's gonna be so seamless.
Precise.
To what Casey.
Okay.
Wow.
But that was like that's when I felt like something different about this movie, when it was like, before it was, I enjoyed it up until this point, but it was kind of just like, whatever. And then the fact that they were like making this whole possession with this, communicating with the spirit world, it was more like a gag and like a party thing. And like you guys were saying earlier, like drugs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're at that age where you think that you are aware of repercussions because you're reminded of repercussions all the time, but you're in the most rebellious. Yeah, exactly. You're the most rebellious you ever are at that age. So of course you don't give a shit. But it's fun. What I like about this movie is you still do see characters kind of aware of the repercussions and maybe even afraid, and yet they still do it.
Well, that's what drugs. I mean, when you're doing
peer pressure,
hard drugs, you don't care about anything but getting drugs. It doesn't matter.
Totally.
So,
yeah, I think it's I'm not saying we forget what it's like to be that age, but I think sometimes generally we forget kind of how difficult it is when you're a teenager and the pressure that comes with it. It's suffocating.
I mean, I didn't,
to a point.
I didn't feel that.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, I've never done any drugs. I've never drank. I never wanted to, but I know that I'm definitely the minority when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But
I went through a phase where when I was younger, I was always I was a theater kid, and, I was kind of nerdy, kind of. I was like a good kid. And when I got into high school, my brother was a couple years older than me, and he kind of knew. I went from a very small Catholic school with like 20 other classmates to a public school, and the pressure was on. My brother was a couple years older than me, and he had done football, so he knew all of these people going in. So he was, there was these popular kids, which isn't supposed to say that just because you're popular, you're doing drugs or anything. But I had this expectation for myself that I wanted to meet. I wanted so badly to be cool. So it's kind of sad looking back. I mean, it's not that sad. I didn't do anything too like reprehensible, but there was like a couple of years where I tried so hard. I would do everything, I wanted to. It's so hard to not want to fit in when you're just constantly immersed and around it, and you want to I want to be like my older brother. He seems to be having a lot of fun. Like, I want to have that. Or it's just the pressure is just, it's weird. I was always aware of it, which makes it kind of sad for kids at that age.
Yeah.
And that's just the definition of peer pressure. God, we would do the stupidest things. And I look back and I'm like, oh my God, like what the hell?
My
like,
friends,
that's just not me. It's just not who I am.
Yeah. My friends used to do that thing where they would pass each other out.
Oh, I did that. Yeah. I did that. We would literally sneak off to the bathroom.
Yeah. My friends would do it and I'd be like, you guys are dumb.
That's literally what that is a great parallel to this movie and like what the kids do. It is life-threatening. It is not even fun.
Yeah. What the fuck?
And it's this like social, we would sneak off. We were so into it for a period of time where I don't even know how we did this, because multiple people can't go to the bathroom at the same time. I don't know how we orchestrated this, but during class, a few guys would go to the bathroom. We would hold, we would put our hands on our necks
and breathe really heavy.
Yep. All I remember, God, I'm like getting like heart palpitations. This is making me so anxious. I remember standing in the bathroom with all the guys around me doing it. And then it was as though someone like jumped ahead, like just hit the, like flipped the page in the book. I just remember being on the floor and hearing laughter and looking up, and the guys are like, "Holy shit, Danny! Oh my God!" Cool, and I was like, and I remember just
and then
waking
you
up
wanted
and
to do it again.
Oh my God,
because it was cool.
No, I didn't ever want to do it again. I was terrified. That's where like the good Danny came out and saved me. He was like, "No, get out of here." Yeah, this is not cool, Daniel. You need to get out of this bathroom and get back to class.
Go back to the theater.
What would Bob Fosse do, Danny? He would not be here.
WWBFD.
What would Bob Fosse do? Oh my God. It's crazy to think like, like with the passing out thing, and it's like some of the things that we did, and it was just like, it's life's path is so fucking crazy because
it's weird.
You make one little decision and you're going a different way.
Yeah.
One little decision this way, you're going a different way. And it's like, you could be dead, you could be in jail, you could be arrested, or whatever,
especially with drugs. Like,
and I think that's a reason why so many horror movies are centered around teenagers. They're the most vulnerable to sort of society's worst. I don't know, like every blemish in society, every teenager is like the most susceptible to it. The worst parts of the decisions that people make, because you do get to a certain age And hopefully you kind of realize you have that perspective to say, wow, that's stupid.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But when you're in high school and then it's tough also from like a parent or a guardian's perspective. And I think they do a really good job of the Sue character in this movie, where it's like, if you come on too strong or too hard, then the kid might want to rebel. And if you're not there at all, then they have no guidance. So it's like, how do you manage that? And it is sadly like a combination of luck, circumstance, location, you know, just home life. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel I was and I'll move on from this, but I was a substitute teacher at a middle school and a high school for a few years. And I remember not wanting to sub at the high school because I was like, I feel like it's gonna be so difficult. Like the middle school kids are so sweet and it can kind of like, it's just like a good age. But then in high school, I did end up going, and it turned out that I was wrong. They were just like good kids. They were, you know, I forget, you know, we have these stereotypes that you know, these ideas of what like the teenager is. They're good people, you know, and they have a lot. Yeah, I mean,
they're just trying to figure out who they are.
100%.
Danny, all you had to do was wheel in the cart and put on "Remember the Titans."
No, I was the best substitute teacher.
Clearly not.
They
if you
loved
guys weren't
me.
watching Remember the Titans.
I did have one. I remember I got a laugh when I subbed. It was a 7th grade. What do you call it? Like construction.
You got laughs from a 7th grader?
Oh yeah. I was. They were watching a video on how to make dams. So it was like one of those like, you know, how to like dam making. So the kids kept talking, and I was always pretty cool with the kids. And
a 7th
like building
grade class, how to make dams? What the fuck?
Well, it was like building.
School were you at?
It was a construction
some
class.
Little fucking beavers. Construction class? What is that?
Like,
there's no such thing as construction class.
I know there is because I failed out of it freshman year.
Are you talking about shop?
Shop, yeah.
You still don't make dams in shop. You make fucking toy trucks and shit. What are you talking about?
But we need to show them when a substitute's there. We can show the potential of where shop class can take them. And
look, eventually you're making the toy trucks now. In 30 years, you'll be making a dam. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
No, but I remember the kids were kind of just being, you know, they had a sub and it was shop class. They're just like talking, and I was like, guys, come on, yada yada yada. In construction class. I was like trying to get them to stop talking, and they wouldn't listen. And finally I was like, guys, can you watch the damn video? They lost their minds. So they were cracking up like on the floor. They thought it was the funniest thing I ever heard. And then they were good for the rest of the class because it was like,
good,
it was like a rapport.
All right, guys, let's talk about Talk to Me, huh?
No.
Yes.
What? Okay.
Talk.
All right, party montage. So
we're at the possession party, right? They're just
going ham.
Taking turns going ham.
Daniel's the first one to go, right?
Yes.
When he makes out with the dog,
gets
he's
it
horny.
pretty
He makes out with
bad.
the dog, and
He's a horny demon.
You know, and that's kind of like you know, Danny, you had said that story about like you like did the pass out thing, and then like you wake up and everyone's like laughing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like this, but now like it's kind of like just like that, but like now everyone's got phones, and he's like,
totally, yeah, we didn't have that as kids. That's so true.
He's like, please don't post it, and they're like, too late. Like, it's got to be so hard as a teenager these days, just because of social media and all that. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I read somewhere that a lot of people who work in tech, like higher up, like who actively developed certain like social media sites and whatnot, they don't let their kids use social media or their phones, which says quite a bit about what
how
we should
dangerous
be doing and allowing our kids to do. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
But then, so Riley wants to do this, and Jade, his sister Jade's like, no, it's too dangerous. Like, don't do it, or whatever. But then Mia's like, go ahead, little bro. That's not really my bro, but I'll say you can go ahead anyways. Yeah. So he does it they say like, let's do it for 50 seconds. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay. But then a spirit claiming to be Mia's mom is like, hey, what's up, Mia? And she's like, don't close that door just yet. I want to talk to my mom. Yeah. Which is, you know, like, you can't blame Mia because
No,
it's
of
like,
course.
oh my God, like it's my mom. Like this could be like the last chance I get to talk to her. Like, let me talk to her.
Mhm.
She's not in the right headspace. She's not thinking clearly.
Right. But then that spirit just wants Riley and starts to bash its fucking head on the table.
Yeah. How surprised were you?
God, I loved this scene, but I hated this scene because Riley's such a sweet character.
I remember in the theater, like, I just wasn't expecting the brutality of it because
right,
it was all just, the possession stuff is what I expected. And then, and then he doesn't end with the table. He goes over to the fireplace mantle.
Oh,
yeah.
And then he starts to tear out his own eyeball.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was, Nina was watching it and she like jumped up from her seat. She's like, nope.
I like that scene a lot because I was very surprised in the theater.
Yeah. But that was on my official reveals list.
Yeah, same. That's like Riley. The big one. That's
the big one.
Things than Damashan.
Yeah.
And from then we start to see some shit going, like they've opened this door now. It's gone on for too long. The spirits are kind of out there, and Mia is now seeing her mom in different places. So the next few reveals that I have kind of come right after another. First, we see her in the kitchen door, like through the window. And then we see her in the hospital in the window. And then there's like a sequence in the bathroom because the mom had apparently taken too many sleeping pills and she was trying to, there was like wood under her fingernails because she was like clawing at the door to get out. Oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah, my original thought as far as this went was like, I thought that at first I thought the spirit really was her mom. And I thought that we were going to find out that her dad actually killed her mom. That's what did you get that too? Is that what you were thinking?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. And I think
guess that maybe what they intended then.
Right.
But,
yeah. Because then like in the bathroom, like with the scratching on the door, you hear that scratching from time to time. And we hear it in the bathroom, but then she opens the door and there's nobody there. Now my next reveal is an honorable mention.
Same. I think we're on the same page.
The dream sequence.
Oh, yes.
And somebody refresh my memory on this dream sequence because I don't remember it. I wrote down dream sequence, but what?
She's making out with Daniel in that scene. I wrote kissing Daniel, mom's death. So there's something with, I don't know if it's like a flashback to her mom.
The dad like pulls her out of the bathroom or whatever room she's in.
That's right.
Whatever room, and they're like sitting in the hallway, and she's like making out with Daniel, but then like she turns and like his back's turned or something, and it's all kind of trippy.
Yeah, but then that also leads into my honorable mention. So it's got 2 honorable mentions for the price of 1. We find out that she is not kissing Daniel.
Wait a second, Danny. Oh, wait, just wait a second.
Wait,
the old lady crawling in the bedroom and sucking on Daniel's foot, you have as an honorable mention?
Not anymore.
It's about to go down. Wait, really? Did you really have that as an honorable mention?
I must have written that as a mistake when I was doing my count
You're
earlier.
so full of shit.
I swear to God, I wrote monster intro honorable mention, but I think I must have forgotten who was sucking feet.
Ew.
So thinking back on it, do you realize that it's actually a monster reveal?
Well, I'm like forgetting the scene now because when I saw feet sucking, I for some reason remember Mia sucking Daniel's feet.
Yeah.
Right. But she was possessed by the spirit of that old wet woman.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't remember that like image. So I thought it was just her.
Okay. So like, you just were thinking Mia's nasty.
I thought Mia was
so let's give her an honorable mention.
Dream kissing. Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought she was thought she was making out, and then in her dream.
Mia's a bit of a freak.
Gotcha. You went from the dream to her in real life doing that.
Yeah. Okay. No, there's the bloated wet woman crawls across the floor and starts sucking all over Daniel's toes. But it's actually...
So wait, why is that a monster intro? That's hot.
I hate this so much.
That's hot. She's but she's actually possessed Mia, who is actually sucking on Daniel's toes.
That's actually my
It
favorite Pornhub category. Bloated, drowned, spirit sucking toes.
Bloated wet woman. Sucks toes.
No.
I just hate it because I can never like pick the right video when I'm searching. There's so many.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like you know, there's.
I'm like,
it seems.
I just want something else.
It seems like a very specific type, but you'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. How many different variances there are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very specific.
Everyone's kink friendly now, so now it's fucking just taking over the fucking subcategories.
Yeah. They're usually not bloated enough for me,
Never. And they're not
not wet enough.
Right. Oh, they're wet enough.
They're not. I was gonna say they're not dead enough for me.
They're not dead enough for me.
Oh goodness gracious! Great balls of fire.
Okay.
Great balls of water.
Well, the fact that Mia gets like possessed by this other woman and is actually doing the act. I want to come back to this later when we get to another reveal.
Zach can't let it go. He's like, I really want to talk about this again, if possible.
I love this scene so much that I want to come back and talk about it.
You putting it in the spank bank?
Well, hey, you guys just gave me some great ideas here. This is fucking horrible.
Sunday fun day, am I right?
But okay, so
I'm going to use
back to this, unfortunately. Casey, what is on your shirt?
It's Ed Gein. He's a serial killer.
Oh,
it says "Mama tried." He killed his mom.
Oh gosh! Oh my gosh!
I know.
There's
disgusting.
a lot to unpack.
Zach,
here.
are you wearing anything horror related? I'm wearing my Woodsboro Film Club shirt.
I have my trusty Fangoria hat on.
Oh, Fangoria! Look at us, guys, represent.
Yeah. And so,
speaking of Fangoria,
if you want to save 20% on your Fangoria purchase, head to shop.fangoria.com/howimetyourmonster and put a hat like this in your
spank
in your shopping cart and enter promo code howimetyourmonster at checkout. You'll get 20% off and you will help support our show. So, yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
But okay, so this is where Mia's mom, she is now seeing her like all the time. And we think now that she is like, we still think she's good. We think, she's like, hey, Riley needs help. This is where she says Riley needs help. Yeah. So I listed this as an honorable mention again, because she was like in the mirror and she's starting to like, throughout the movie, she gets more and more just like gross.
Mm-hmm. Like she's been in that water.
It's was it that, or is it that the spirit that is pretending to be Mia is having a harder time disguising itself? I guess both work. I do like
the
Casey's
spirit
read
that's
on
pretending to be Mia's mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I like Casey's read on it and the fact that like if everyone in the spirit world is sort of kind of drowning in a sense, and that the effects of like what happens to you in that space is kind of like more but then hasn't the mom been dead for 2 years though? So I don't know. I guess there are a lot of ways to read it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that spirit that's pretending to be her mom has been dead that long.
That's true.
Ooh, that's a good point. But then we get our next official reveal, which tell me if you guys have this too, but Riley in the shower room when they're giving him a bath.
Is that when he
starts smashing his head on the tile?
Is that when he tries to kill himself?
Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
I think
I would say,
does he bite Jade, or he does something to Jade?
I think that's a monster reveal.
Yeah, because it still shows that there's still something within him.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then,
that's true. Because at that point, you don't really know for sure.
Because then she says every time he comes to, he tries to kill himself.
Yeah.
So.
And I even think he's like laughing when he's like bashing his head against the shower wall.
Yeah, he is.
Oof.
Oh, so good. I'm fucked up, aren't I?
Yeah, but we need multiple flavors on this show. I'm the little softy. I'm the little
softy.
I'm the
little baby.
So I think this is where So I think this is now where they go to see Cole. They go and track down Cole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey,
context.
tell us about this hand. Like, this is because that's where they got the hand from, was from Duckett,
right?
And who is now passed. So they went to find his brother and be like, what do we do? Like, what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And so she has the idea. Mia has the idea. She's like, hey, I think we left the door open, you guys. Yep. Who did you guys blow out the candle? No one could remember. So like, I think we left the door open. So she's like, I'm going to go to the hospital and use the hand and try to talk to Riley or whatever spirit is controlling him. Mm-hmm. So they get to the hospital. They do the little talk to me thing, and she sees a little girl.
So that's our what number are we on now for intro or for reveals? Because that's an official. I would definitely there's like we get two. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a reveal in itself, but then when we kind of go into limbo, then I guess that's a consecutive reveal, right?
Okay.
Or is that just one big reveal?
I counted it as all as one, but but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the little ghost girl is a spirit as well, and then
right.
And so all the spirits aren't bad.
No,
right?
And that's the thing is, are we supposed to? Is the movie positing the idea that if you die, the afterlife, like it is this hopeless, dark void of torture and misery?
Well, see, I don't know, because that like we could jump to the end and talk about the very last scene, which is like, spoiler alert, Mia dies at the end, right?
Oh, great.
And so she's in the spirit world, and so she's on the other side of this hand when some guy's like, talk to me, and it's her. But yeah, is she like part of that whole?
Oh, okay. Now I'm thinking. So at the end, Mia, I mean, her intentions are good, but she technically does some things that are not great. So I don't know if that, from like the rules of the spirit world, if that would warrant her going into a limbo rather than like going to heaven or whatever. She's not necessarily, well, I guess she is. If I don't know. Does the hand only pull from limbo? Does it pull from? That's what I was wondering too. Because like that little girl, you would think she's not like. Maybe she just, I don't know. Like,
maybe she burned some ants with a magnifying glass or stepped on some frogs or something.
She also could have somehow gotten possessed and been told to do things too.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Like they're having Riley and Mia do.
Yeah, it's funny. There's part of me that doesn't, Casey, you kind of said this earlier, how we don't really get a lot of context and explanations. And there is part of me that doesn't want that because I like it the way it is. But they are doing a sequel. I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's the curiosity in me just wants to know because it's nice to know. But then the fact that we can't know and we're forced to use our imagination also is kind of what makes the experience so kind of fulfilling, I guess.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, a prequel was also made during filming of this movie. Let me just read you the little blurb here from that's on Wikipedia about a prequel. In August 2023, Danny and Michael Philippou revealed that they had already completed principal photography on a prequel film with the story exploring Duckett's backstory, which leads to the character's introduction in the original movie. Production was completed consecutively from the perspective of screen life storytelling through mobile phones and social media. The filmmakers stated that they intended to release this project in the future. Later that month, the filmmakers revealed the sequences from the project were released by anonymously uploading them online as means of marketing for Talk to Me. Those sequences were removed from the internet due to complaints and concerns about their content. The sequences will be officially released at a future date.
Interesting.
So I thought that was interesting as well.
I wonder if it is to give us more answers or if it's just to kind of flesh out like the world of this and give a little more context to the characters we've met.
Yeah, because I don't see it giving us any answers because they don't have the answers.
Yeah, because I mean, we get vague details and it's all just sort of a lot of guesswork. They mentioned that it might be the hand of a medium that's covered in ceramic. Someone says they think it might be the hand of a Satanist. So there's all these. But it makes sense that these are the kind of the guesses because this whole movie is kind of made up of it's an urban legend, like that's what this hand is, and that's kind of the basis of most urban legends is a series of different interpretations depending on like where you are or where you've heard of this particular story from.
Right.
So I think the beauty of this movie, the strength of it, works on the guesswork, the guessing, nothing concrete. So maybe if they didn't, when they do another movie, maybe we'll get some context, whether or not that confirms anything, I guess. I would like to see them keep asking questions rather than trying to answer the questions that they've already asked.
Right. But we'll see. They are, like you said, they are making a sequel.
Cool.
Which I think right now is tentatively titled Talk to Me with a 2, which could get confusing. But we'll see. That's a lot of sequel titles get confusing. So
yeah, because it'd be kind of neat just to call the sequel like I Let You In, go completely different. And then the third one. But from a marketing perspective, I can see that being really difficult.
People that hadn't seen the first Talk to Me probably wouldn't realize that it was a sequel.
Yeah. See, I love subtitle. Like, what would you call that? Would you call that a subtitle?
Yeah.
Yeah. House 2, the second story.
Best subtitle.
Yeah. Like I Let You In, talk to me too. Talk to me.
Yeah. Talk to me as well.
I would just do it. Talk to me. And then just italicize me. Talk to me.
Talk to me.
You just have to know how to say it.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Okay, so we see Riley in limbo with all the yucky society people in that,
which is fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
What a great depiction.
It's like a lot of quicker cuts. I didn't pause to see all the details, but it looked fucking graphic.
Yeah.
And we see the one spirit or demon who is holding on to Riley. Which we see later again, kind of in his space, in his place, I guess, when Mia's, we'll get to it, but,
and that's the demon that is on the cover of Fangoria. Spoiler.
Fangoria. Yes.
So if you have that issue, I don't have, I moved them.
If you've got this issue of Fangoria from,
what issue is it?
Volume 2, number 20.
Yeah, so when you're on Fangoria and you want to find that copy, if they still have older issues, get that and put in the promo code How I Met Your Monster for 20% off.
This is one of their nice quarterly magazines. Shop.fangoria.com/How I Met Your Monster. Promo code How I Met Your Monster.
Shop until you drop.
Shameless.
Yep. I wonder if there's answers in this article, because I never read the article because I didn't want spoilers.
Same. All right, join us next week on our episode where we just read Fangoria.
Yes.
Yeah, I would actually love just to listen to someone read Fangoria.
Okay, so the next reveal is a big one. And this kind of brings me back to our, unfortunately, I have to talk about the feet sucking scene again.
Yes. Oh, fuck yeah.
We are in Mia's room. So her dad has read the suicide note that the mom wrote, right? Max, the dad, had kept this from Mia, and that's he kind of had he was distant throughout this whole movie, and he's finally here, I'm going to read you this note. So Mia's mom is in the room. The spirit of Mia's mom is in the room. The demon pretending to be the spirit of Mia's mom is in the room. God.
Yeah.
And she's like, that out there is not your dad. He's coming to hurt you. So we get this weird sequence where there's somebody claiming to be Mia's dad banging on the door, and he's let me in. But then we also see Mia's dad on the couch, looking through her bag and whatever. And so you're okay, what's going on here? This is a spirit. The spirit comes in, attacks Mia, and she grabs the scissors and stabs him. But at the same time, the real dad is coming in, and they kind of collide at the same time, and stabs the real dad in the throat. So here is my question. It's Mia the whole time. There is no other spirit, right? There was no struggle with her. It's just her in her head, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever these spirits are just tricking her to get her to kill the dad.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I like to think that the spirit that is coming after Mia kind of like gathered some other spirits to be like, yo, I have like a thing I'm trying to do. I need to, I'm doing it. Oh, you're doing like a fake out. Yes. Okay. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I need you to be fake.
I need you to meet me for a raid.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, I love this. They're like, okay. It's kind of like improv, you know, like zip, zip, stop. They, you know.
And also within this, I just realized comes like we already had established that we don't think this is actually Mia's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So here's another thing that I think solidifies that. Her mom, they specifically keep saying that her mom could not open the door. Right.
Oh.
So her mom can't really come through because she can't get the door open.
Casey. Oh my God, Casey, what are you doing? You should.
I love this
you just turned this movie into a masterpiece. Wow, that's so.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally missed that. That's so good.
Man, here's another example of like liking a movie and then coming in to talk about it and just liking it even more.
Yeah.
100%.
Man, good catch, Casey.
Thank you.
I'll see myself.
I'll be here every other Monday.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get better than that. So let's just wrap this up. I know we got more reveals to do, but that was our high.
Well, I think the last reveal for me is just in the hospital when Mia goes to, she thinks via the mom or via the spirit pretending to be the mom. Says you got to kill Riley to like let's set him free, which is really just the spirits being like, hey, we want to get this soul.
They're like, oh my God, it's working. Like she's literally gonna throw him in the road. I genuinely didn't think this was gonna work.
Which she goes through a lot of trouble to get him out of the hospital and just to throw him into traffic, which is fucking kind of weird. But here's a question.
What spirit wants, spirit gets.
Me and Nina were talking about this, and Nina said, it's funny the way she worded it. She said, but we can both agree that Jade pushed Mia into the road, right?
Oh, no.
But I was like, no, I didn't think that at all. But you actually never see her fall into the road. You don't know if she got pushed. You think she's going there.
It would make sense that she'd be protecting her brother.
There's like the whole like deer thing or the kangaroo. I'm sorry. Like the kangaroo thing where it's like, we got to put it out of its misery.
Right.
And so she's like, well, part of it's like, yeah, she thinks she's got to put Riley out of his misery to end it. But then she's like, oh, but I'm the one that's causing all this. So I need to sacrifice myself to save Riley.
Yeah.
But also Jade is coming to Riley's rescue at the same time. And you never see her actually either step into traffic or get pushed into traffic.
I could see if maybe the purpose was to make it that way. I think that the purpose of not showing it was probably just the dramatic effect of her hitting the windshield. But I also would argue that Duckett did the same thing in the beginning. He killed himself. So nobody else stabbed him, you know? So I would think that it's kind of the same thing. He tried to kill his brother, but I'm not sure if that was a thing like what happened with her dad or if that was a thing where
this is a really big reach, but do you think that this could have been
no?
Okay, maybe they would have taken Riley, but the fact that they never. Okay, no, I'm kind of because Riley does try to like kill himself, like Duckett does. I was gonna say, could this be like a long game for the demons to ultimately get Mia and like fuck up her life completely to the point that she's willing to kill herself so that they could kind of claim her? Because they know like it, and also in doing so kind of destroy this family unit that she's created with her friends.
Well, so the spirits wanted Riley and her, you know, so they'll take everything they can get.
Because this is where the mom is like over her shoulder at the end, and she's like, he'll be with us forever. Like, and then it's kind of like a giveaway. It's like, okay, we finally know now that you are not the mom. Up until this point, you're still kind of like, we don't know. Who do we trust? You know what I mean?
Because the movie's been pretty twisty. It could go either way. Because we're seeing it all from the perspective of Mia, who could at this point kind of be, and like only because of like the grief she's going through, could be kind of like an unreliable narrator, where like we're just seeing her perspective on it, as opposed to like what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's very true.
So yeah.
Yeah. And so, when Nina was like, we can agree that she got pushed. I was like, oh, I didn't. Like throws another, it threw me for a loop to be like, oh,
I think it's, we were talking earlier about how like there's no clear-cut answers in this movie. I could argue that is 100% a possibility, and that they probably didn't want to make it. They didn't want to give the answer, what's your take on it? What do you, because then you could walk out of the movie saying it completely changes your, perception of these characters. Is Jade the kind of person who would be willing to kill Mia to save her brother? Is Mia the kind of person who would be willing to sacrifice herself to save Riley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting because in the beginning they make it seem like Jade doesn't care about her brother because she's too busy texting that guy and she forgets to pick him up.
Right.
But then we see those like little clues of like when he's smashing his head and she's willing, she puts her hand in the way. So it's like she's still willing to do whatever it takes to help him.
Right.
Yeah. And okay, and they kind of throw you. I don't know if this was just a filmmaking thing to try to trick you into being like, we don't know where she is, if she's dead or not. But when they show the overhead shot of her laying in the road, the tire tracks like swerved around her.
Oh.
So like she's laying there in the above, bird's eye view. She's laying in the ground and like you see two tire tracks that swerved to the right to avoid her. So you're like, okay, the car missed her. So then she like gets up and you're like, okay.
Yeah, I think that was deliberate to kind of prolong because it is kind of
thinking
like
that she's
a reveal.
survived.
Yeah.
Right. Because she's all beat up.
When the lights start going off in the hospital.
Yeah. And nobody's paying attention to her and her dad is like walking away.
I love this ending.
So
could you guess?
I think the dad survived
the
next stabbing.
Yeah.
Because she can't talk to him. He's if he was dead, she'd probably be able to communicate with him.
And he's leaving the hospital.
Which everyone's leaving her. Riley survived. He's going off with his family, and then the dad survived.
That's what I appreciated about this movie. Because it's tough. And that's just, again, it's a personal thing. I prefer to watch a movie where, we talked about this, spoiler alert for Smile. But we talked about this where the character goes through all this shit only to die in the end, which totally works as an urban legend, because the urban legends are, warnings, they're cautionary tales. They have to end bad because they're warning you. What I did like about this one was there were, for lack of a better term, happy endings for the most part. For a lot of the central characters, which I was like, like Riley especially, I was like, please just get this guy, get him home and just save.
Somebody help this fucking kid.
To me, the ending would have been a little bit better if she had pushed Riley into traffic with herself.
Oh my God.
I mean, you guys know me. Come on.
In a perfect world, Riley dies.
The 14-year-old would be dead. But
tortured for no reason.
But I do still love the ending. I love that she comes out on the other side of this other hand. Like, I think that's so fucking cool. I loved it.
Yeah,
I guess that is you said, Zach, that you had your final reveal, but I would, I think that's the final reveal. Is Mia,
I think so too.
As
her
a spirit.
coming out on the other side.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. I wonder how how did the hand get across the world? Or
it might be a different hand.
Is it a different hand? Yeah. Is it a different hand?
Yeah. There could be.
Yeah. Who's supplying these hands? Like, is it being put out into the world deliberately to create this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a question, and I didn't pay attention to this. We may have to go back and look. Is it the other hand? Of whoever's
like the lefty, righty,
cut off of?
Well, she has this hand out, and with this one, you use this hand.
Okay, so it is the other hand.
Maybe.
It could be the other hand of whoever.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this franchise, I kind of suggested this earlier, we just keep adding body parts. Left hand, right hand, left foot, right foot. And then it's like the porn version is just a dick. You're like, oh, do I really? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
What would the porn name of Talk to Me be?
Instead of I let you in, it's I get you off.
I get you off.
Or I let you in.
And I let you in. Yeah. I let you in. It's first I let you in, and instead, okay, no, never mind. I let you in. I get you off.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I love it.
So that's Talk to Me, you guys.
What do they say at the end to close, to like end the possession? What's the phrasing they use? I let you, or talk to me.
Nothing.
I let you
They
in,
just rip the hand out and then they blow out the candle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, blow out the candle. That's right.
Yeah.
So we have to end the episode with
like a kid at a birthday party. Spitting all over the candles and then spit all over the cake. Oh, who wants a piece of cake? Not me.
yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about our favorite reveals in Talk to Me.
What's going on here?
I don't see anything anywhere.
That's how they get you. They're under the goddamn ground.
My favorite reveal in the movie is the first time Mia sees a spirit. When it legitimately scared. It actually took me aback. It scared me. So yeah, that's got my vote.
Took me aback.
No, that was good. Like, I didn't get as scared, but it was kind of like, I didn't know what this was all going to be about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to Me, the movie had been so hyped up over the last year. And so I didn't really know I knew like the premise, but I didn't really know what to expect. And so it was pretty cool. That's a good one. Casey, what do you got for your favorite reveal?
So it's really, really hard for me to pick because I like this movie so much and there's so many different kinds of reveals, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I really love, I'm going to narrow it down to 3 and then maybe I can talk myself into 1.
Okay.
I love the one where Riley smashes his face because again, super unexpected. I remember like my jaw dropping in the theater. I also really love the limbo part just because I've never seen anything like that before. Again, it was also unexpected.
Outside of society.
Wait, they limboed in this movie?
Yeah, they did the limbo. They had a limbo bar, and that's what they weren't actually like pulling each other apart and all that kind of stuff. They were doing the limbo. They were just all really close together. Yeah. And then I also love the final reveal with Mia being on the other side of the hand because I just it's partially a tragic ending. Y'all know I love a good tragic ending. So I don't think they could have ended it any better with her like having to experience the other side of it. And now is she going to have to, what is she going to do? Is she going to trick people into doing things? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting because you could do something because if her goal isn't to imprison,
right? Is she going to try to fight back? Is she going to try to?
Yeah, there's something
to do
you
something
could do
else
there.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Gotta pick one.
I love it.
Gotta pick one.
I'm gonna pick the limbo one because they were having such a good time. No, because it's just not like anything I've seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't. This whole movie was very.
Casey, we watched Society live.
But it wasn't limbo in Society. That was a metaphor for, the rich feeding off the poor. But I've never seen limbo depicted or purgatory depicted in such a way.
Right.
So.
Well, see, I'm stuck between 2. The possession. I will. The possession party where they're all like, being teenagers and they're using the possession as a party game. And I guess it's still at that possession party, which is Riley's possession where the face smacks on the table. And I think I'm going to go with that one. I think the possession party was really cool because it was like a different take on these kids aren't scared of this possession. They're using it as to have fun, as a daring thing. But Casey, like you said, when his face smashes on the table, you're like, oh shit. It's this kind of movie. Okay, here we go. So I think I'm going to go with Riley's possession as well.
Yeah, because you think about possession movies a lot. There's not, I don't know. I guess I don't think of gore in possession movies. Right. But maybe that's because my favorite kinds are like The Dark and the Wicked, where there's not a lot of, disgusting bloody stuff. So then in this movie when they show that, it's jarring.
All right. Well, now it's time for a segment that we like to call The Real Monster.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
You're a monster.
I'm not the monster here. You are. You and the rest of that fairy tale trash poisoning my perfect world. Now tell me, where are the others?
Eat me.
I have a couple. Again, just like last episode, it was kind of hard to find a real monster because this movie's pretty solid.
Yeah.
But I have two. One, they actually they make light of it in the movie, is talking with the water on when you're doing the dishes. And someone's trying to talk to you. And like her dad, like she's doing the dishes and the dad comes in and he says something and she turns off the water to hear him. And then it's like silent. Yeah. It's like she's waiting and then she turns the water back on to do more dishes. And then he starts talking again. And she's like, oh my God.
That's funny.
That's funny.
But I can't hear anything. Like I'm doing the dishes or whatever. And like Samuel or somebody's trying to talk to me. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, buddy. Like I can't hear you right now.
Yeah.
So talking funny. With the water on and then, shoes on the bed, shoes on the,
do they do it?
Mia comes into Jade's room at the beginning and she jumps on the bed with her shoes on and I'm like, ugh, where have those shoes been?
The thing is like, I've never liked that, but especially like there, I can almost be okay with it. They live in like this little rural area. There's not that much foot traffic, whatever. Where if I just take Brewster out for a walk, God knows who has done things to
how
where
much
I'm stepping.
Shit is on, how much human feces is on the bottom of your shoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Danny, Casey, I can't speak to a woman's bathroom, but Danny, going up to a urinal, fucking see the floors under those.
You're just walking in pee.
Oh, I used to have to clean them.
Yeah, and then like you come home and you fucking put your feet on the
like
furniture.
I can't believe I just walked in pee. That's just like a part of life. That's terrible design on a urinal.
So that's my real monsters. What do you guys got?
On a serious note, social media.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty
absolutely
self-explanatory. Just the need to feel connected all the time, and it's destroying our brains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My real monster is pretty similar. I mean, it's in the same vein, I guess, but it's people who record everything. Yeah. Especially if it's
in the
without
midst of a
consent.
tragic event. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. I'm also kind of, I don't want to judge people. People live your life the way you want to live it. But I don't know. If I want to nitpick, I just get bummed. Sometimes there's a reason I can be very nostalgic. And sometimes I find myself like, wanting to watch movies like set in the 80s purely to feel like I'm in a time before now, which sounds so sad, but like I'll just constantly just like, oh wow, there's no one's recording anything. Oh look, they have to like go out of their way to make a phone call. Oh look, they're just talking to each other.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to think about. Even when we were growing up, like I would go out, I would ride my bike around the town and not talk to my mom until the sun went down when I came home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
it's crazy. And I get like sad because I'm like,
it was great.
I don't know. And on one hand, but then I also understand like things move. Everything changes. Everything evolves. I bet you in 30 years, we're going to look back at this period and be like, God, it was so simple. Now, like everyone's, I don't know. Like there's murder bots everywhere. Remember when there weren't murder bots? Like it's just
there's also obviously good things about being able to stay connected. Like there's certain things about social media that I wouldn't know about 100%. My family members when they are pregnant or when they're getting married. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Yeah. Or if something happens to somebody.
Yeah. There's that, and that's the thing is like
bad. It's just taken to a different level, to an unnecessary level.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
100%.
and if something bad is happening, instead of going to help somebody, people are more worried about making sure that they capture the moment.
Yeah, it's like the idea of content.
I mean, and the same thing goes for dumb things like, the same thing goes for events, for concerts. I take my phone out once or twice during a concert to take a video or a picture. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to stare through a screen. I literally, when I was seeing Ed Sheeran last summer, there was a girl next to me that just took a bunch of videos and took a bunch of pictures. And then she while he was still performing, looked down at her phone and was going through her pictures.
That's the thing. And then it kind of spoils it because I'm so hyper aware of it that if I record something, I'm like, oh, am I just as bad? And then I'm like, oh, and I get why people do it. So then I'm guilty about it. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate all this.
Also, I'm never, when are you going to go look at those? Like, I took a video like at the Iceland Kill show because I wanted to show people how cool it was. It was a 10-second video. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you need to do.
Well, the thing is, too, is that nowadays, in a lot of cases, and I'm not saying every case, and I'm also not saying don't do it. Like, I don't know. I'm like contradicting myself because I also don't give a fuck what other people do, but I'm also like judging everyone as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
But like, there's usually someone there already who's like a professional, like videographer or photographer.
Right.
So like, is it just this need that we feel like we have to control things? Like, I need that to be mine. It's like, I need this. I need to have made that thing. I need to own it. It needs to be my thing. I need to tell people I was there. I need to prove that I was there. Like, I was watching the SAG Awards and someone was recording with their phone someone talking.
Oh my God.
It's on television.
It's
like
on TV.
You're watching, you're on the show. You don't need proof because you're watching you.
I thought you said spider.
You said spider. You're recording the show. Oh, I thought I was. You were recording.
Oh man.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's also, I get like mad at myself for being mad at it. It's like Danny, like,
it's hard because it really is though. I understand, not wanting to, let people do what they want and blah, blah, blah. And it's their life, but it is a detriment to our society. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I watched Working Girl last night and I want us to bring back shoulder pads, big hair, hairspray.
No, hard pass. Do you have any other
That's
real
my
monsters?
pivot. I want to get rid of phones and I want to bring back shoulder pads. Okay.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I guess that's it, you guys. That concludes our Under the Influence triple feature.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So if you guys out there have seen Talk to Me, which I hope you have, let us know what you thought. Send us your thoughts, opinions on Talk to Me. You can use our social media channels at How I Met Your Monster, or you can send us an email at howimetyourmonsterpodcast@gmail.com. And we will get to those questions and comments. Thank you for those who have reached out and suggested monsters for the show.
Yes,
we got a lot of good suggestions coming in, and we're excited to get to some of those in the future. But right now we have to announce our newest triple feature, which is Danny's pick. Danny, tell us what our next few episodes are going to focus on.
Our next triple feature is going to focus on Halloween movies because it's October, right? No, but we are halfway to October. So when these episodes release, we will officially be doing our halfway to Halloween triple feature series. So if you feel yourself just hankering for some Halloween vibes, fear not. We got you. At How I Met Your Monster, we celebrate Halloween. We do it all the time.
All year round.
Do. Yeah.
So these movies will take place during Halloween, correct?
Yeah, on or around in the vicinity of Halloween.
They've got Halloween vibes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what movies are we picking?
Well, you're first, Zach.
Oh, it's me. I go first.
Always.
I'm picking Flatliners
Okay.
from 1990, directed by Joel
seen it.
Schumacher, starring a whole slew of people: Kiefer Sutherland, Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts,
Interesting.
Oliver Platt. It's a good fucking movie.
Okay.
A lot of hair. I've never seen the movie, but when I think of Flatliners, I see hair.
Oh,
mullets,
interesting.
Curls.
Okay.
I think of hearts stopping, but
so I'm going with Flatliners.
I think of lines flattening.
Casey, you're next. What do you got?
I am so excited to announce that I finally get to make Danny watch Terrifier.
Oh boy.
I have to give myself a little credit here because I knew that Casey would pick Terrifier, and I've been actively avoiding or trying to avoid watching Terrifier. So I deserve a gold star for...
You will get a gold star. I will ship you a medal and a cookie.
Thank you. And then
you got a cookie too.
And then I'm assuming that the villain from Terrifier is named Mr. Terrifier, and Mr. Terrifier is gonna hurt me, and he's gonna stab me. His name is not.
Do you really think? You don't really think that?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
It's Dart the Frown.
Dart the Frown.
Ah, no, it's something. I'm so
Fart
close.
the Brown.
Fart the Brown. Maybe by a millisecond.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
So we are finally going to tackle Art the Clown on How I Met Your Monster, which is exciting. Not completely my cup of tea, but he has been leaving a mark on the horror world for some time now. So I'm interested. I've seen Terrifier 2, but I have not seen the original. So I'm semi-excited to watch Terrifier.
Hell yeah.
I've got a semi when it comes to Terrifier. Yeah. I'm excited to go full boner on this movie.
Me too.
Danny, what's your pick for your triple feature?
My pick for the final entry in our Halfway to Halloween triple feature series is none other than the Disney classic Hocus Pocus.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're doing it.
At least we know it's good, and this isn't going to be a Jingle All the Way situation.
Exactly.
Okay, wow, this is basically, I think, our first kid-friendly horror movie that we'll be covering on How I Met Your Monster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're watching it right after Terrifier, which is definitely not kid-friendly. Yeah.
That's like me after watching most, like, if I watch a really disturbing movie, I need like something kind of soften the blow. So
then this is what you can do.
Works. I also love Hocus Pocus.
This is an interesting triple feature. Okay.
Yeah. Flatliners, right, Terrifier, and Hocus Pocus.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so make sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, anywhere you get your horror movie podcasts, so that you don't miss these upcoming episodes. And where can our listeners find you guys on social media?
I am on Instagram at WolfMotherCasey.
Nice, Danny.
And I'm on a few different social media platforms. You can find me at Danny Salem, or Danny Salem Miller. That's DANNYSALEMME, 2 M's like the candy. Melt in your butt, not in your hands.
Wonderful. Awesome. And you can find me on social media at Zach Winsick. Thank you all for listening to this Under the Influence triple feature. I'm sure there will be more possession movies in our lineup down the road at some point. But again, make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe so that you don't miss our newest triple feature, Halfway to Halloween. Yeah. We would love it if you could take the time to write us a 5-star review as well on Apple Podcasts. That helps us a lot because we will rank higher in the search of Apple Podcasts the more 5-star reviews we have. So that really helps us. And as always, thank you for listening. Now go meet some monsters.